Hello and welcome to Transfermarkt TV. I'm Ben Littlemore, and today I'm delighted to be joined by Transfermarkt's area manager in Brazil, Marcus Watts, who joins us all the way from Sao Paulo. And today we are talking about Palmeiras' 18-year-old centre-half, Vitor Reis, who has been linked with a number of the top European clubs in recent times. Them clubs include Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool and Real Madrid. So Marcus is here to tell us more about Vitor Reis and what sort of player he could be. Would you mind just starting, Marcus, with telling us there's been so much talent coming out of Brazil recently and moving to Europe at quite a young age. What type of centre-back is Vitor Reis?
Right, so first of all, nice to meet you, Ben. Good to be here. And yeah, let's get into it. So obviously we know Brazil is a great exporter of talents for football, and we usually see players here getting to big clubs quite quickly and quite young. And the main thing in Brazil would always be sending strikers and forwards, wingers to top clubs in Europe. And for a while now, we've seen defenders leaving Brazil quite early as well and joining the top clubs in Europe. So it's sort of a trend here to see, especially half centre backs leaving the country and being eyed by big clubs in Europe. And it's no different with Vitor Reis. It's more or less the same case as Murillo, who joined Nottingham Forest a couple of years ago, and Lucas Beraldo, who joined PSG last season. He's sort of a similar player to these two guys, but he has a different style of play. So, for example, he's taller than both of them, and he's slimmer than them. So he's, for example, not a very physical guy like Murillo is for Forest. He's very good on the ball, like Beraldo, but he's more of a mental defender than these two guys. You can see he sees the game quite well. He knows where the spaces are. He knows when to make forward runs and when to make forward passes. He understands the game well. And for a player his age, he's been doing amazing here in Brazil. It's only a matter of time that he joins a top club. Is that on the Premier League, on La Liga, or wherever he goes?
Okay, interesting. He's already pretty regular, isn't he? At 18 years old. I've noticed he's played 15 times for the Palmeiras first team. I think he's played 41% of their league games. I think that's this season. How high do you think his ceiling is? Do you see him going on to be a regular for the Brazilian national team? I know it's still very early days at 18, a lot can happen. But do you see him going right to the top of the game?
Yeah, obviously he started playing for the Palmeiras senior team this season, and he has quickly earned a place in the team. He just received his first market failure here, and when we first started evaluating him, he had just a few minutes as a pro, and now he's a regular starter for the team. So you can see he's developing quite quickly, and he really earned the place in the team. And for a player his age to do that in such a solid defense that Palmeiras has is quite impressive. So yeah, I think the ceiling for him is very high. He's probably going to be one of the Brazil's biggest names for defense in the next few years. And yeah, it's obviously always tough to try to understand that on our players' first season, but we definitely got surprised by his talent and how well he reads the game. So we're really expecting to soon join a top club in Europe and just continue developing there. And the ceiling is very, very high. We already expect him to in the next couple of years start getting to the national team, and from then on it's just upwards.
Interesting. So you touched on his market value there, obviously at 10 million at the moment. From what I've been reading, I think there's 100 million euros release clause in his contract. But if he was to leave in, say, January or even next summer and go to maybe Arsenal or Chelsea or even Real Madrid, what sort of fee do you think Palmeiras would want for their young centre-half?
Yeah, obviously it's always tough, especially with these youngsters, because clubs always have high hopes of selling them high, and especially when a player is so good, develops so quickly, you don't know exactly what to expect from the market. But Yeah, in terms of market value, initial market value of 10 million euros is quite high for a defender, but it suits him well, and it only shows how great a talent he is and how much people expect him to develop even more. And yeah, obviously with a 100 million euro release clause, it's just in terms of protection from the club to not sell him early and that they wanted. But I'd say there has been some reports that Palmeiras would not accept bids below 20 million for him. So you could potentially see something closer to 25, 30 million euros for a potential fee in the future. It depends a lot on how well he does for this next couple of months and how well he finishes the season here in Brazil. But for example, if you take Beraldo into consideration, he was sold a year ago, more or less, for 20 million. And Vitor Reis will leave Brazil with a higher status, I would say, maybe in the market. So it's probably going to be a bit higher than that.
Okay, you mentioned the likes of Beraldo and stuff, and just as a more broader question, obviously Brazil's always been a nation that's been synonymous with amazing, talented footballers. But what's happened in recent years, the amount of talent that's particularly leaving so early as well, and the amount of talent that seems to be developing so quickly. You know, you've got players like Estevao, Endrick, Vitor Roque that are sort of 17, 18, and they're getting picked up already by Europe's top clubs. What would you put that development down to? Is it something that clubs are doing in Brazil? Is there a great structure there, or is it just a country with so many talented players?
Yeah, obviously, as we know, Brazil always have good talents everywhere and in every single position, and you can definitely see a trend of clubs being better managed now, and clubs are trying to take more care of their own talents, and they're having different relationships with the market. So as you see clubs getting better in the financial structures and management overall, you see that they have a better idea of how the market works, and they know better how to manipulate the market and how to sell players at the right times at the right prices. So it makes sense, and obviously when you have big amount of talent coming from youth teams here all the time, you always have opportunities to get these good players into your team, and then obviously within time you sell them to big clubs in Europe. So it's something that has always been there, but it's been much better managed now, and I think it's a trend that will continue in the next few years, and we'll probably see a lot more of Brazilian talents rising in the European continent.
Interesting. So, this will be my final question. You mentioned about his attributes earlier on in the interview, saying that he's very intelligent, very good on the ball, but maybe lacks a bit of physicality. Do you think he's suited to the Premier League, and do you think he might struggle a little bit in a league that is sort of renowned for being quite physical?
Yeah, I think you always tend to look at a slim player who joins the Premier League, for example, and you don't know if he's ready yet, or if you don't know if he's to be better prepared for the league, because it's a very physical league, obviously. But I think his understanding of the game compensates a bit of his lack of physical, let's put it like that. And from what I've seen, he knows how to react. He knows how to act against stronger players. So he's a very smart defender, and he will probably have a lot of time of development into his physical abilities, and he'll get a better shape if he joins a club in Europe. So if you put that development and pair it with what he already does and how he understands the game and reads the game, he's probably going to be a beast in a couple of years. In Brazil, you don't need to be a very physical defender at all times. You can be a sort of a better on the ball defender and play with another guy who's more physical. And he's definitely that kind of player. I don't think he's ever going to become like Sergio Ramos, or a guy that always tries to go into physical sides. He's probably going to tend to go more on the ball quality and passing quality and understanding the game. But yeah, he's definitely going to be better developed once he joins an European side. And yeah, once you get him to the physical part and into the European level, it's probably going to be a great defender.
Very good. So more of a William Saliba than a Gabriel. Thank you very much
Yeah,
for your
definitely.
insight today, Marcus. It's very interesting. Vitor Reis, one of the most exciting young defenders in the game right now, and could be on his way to Europe soon. If you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and let us know in the comments if you would like to see Vitor Reis join your club in January or perhaps next summer. Thank you very much for your time, Marcus, and thank you for listening.
Thank you, Ben. Thank you, guys. Cheers.